and the news. And we have our light moments too by chit-chatting about issues that affect our day-to-day life. Stay right here on the Sundown. Join in and be part of the show on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
أهلا ومرحبا بكم في برنامج سانداون على آي راديو. في البرنامج ده بنستضيف شخصيات بارزة ومؤثرة من جنوب السودان ومن حول العالم، وبنتحدث معاهم عن القضايا اللي بتهم بلدنا وبتأثر على حياتنا. كمان بنتطرق في القصص خلف الأخبار وبنتبادل الأحاديث الخفيفة عن حياتنا اليومية. شاركونا، كونوا جزء من البرنامج فقط على آي راديو، عينك على جنوب السودان.
Hello and welcome to the Sundown Show on I Radio with me, Madrama James, together with Obacho Kusha Gawa and Darlington Moses behind the social media coverage. Today is Wednesday, 18th of February 2026. This program comes to you Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for comprehensive look at the daily events, the latest information, in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and exciting surprises. To be part of the show, call us on 0911-022-986-986 or send for us a text message on 0913-986-986. If you can't access the radio, we are also on Facebook, X, to YouTube, and more. You can also stream this broadcast live by logging to our website at iRadio.org. Today on the Sundown Show, we begin our live broadcast from Juba here with a discussion on viral images circulating on social media. These images highlighted a standoff at the University of Juba campus gate yesterday, where there are claims that some students were barred from sitting for the exam. To shed light on this, on truly what happened, I'm joined live in the studio by Professor John Akech, Vice Chancellor of the University of Juba, and Honorable Zakaria Matur, a former chairperson of the Specialized Committee on Higher Education and Technology in the Revitalized Transitional National Legislative Assembly. Good to have all of you. And let me start with a professor. Can you confirm the event that took place yesterday at the university's gate, and what really led to the standoff? Welcome.
I think a standoff is a misnomer. A standoff means, somebody is fighting and you are facing each other. For example, you are asking somebody to leave and the person doesn't want to leave. You see this situations when the police, for example, people are going on demonstrations and the police is standing on the other side. That's a standoff. Or there is a confrontation. There was no confrontation. What was happening was the first day in the exam, second semester exam. Those who read the media would have found that there was a requirement, a notice to all the students to clear their fees. And it is not a small thing. It is like over the last 2 years, a culture of non-payment actually developed. And the excuse was that, there are no salaries, which is something that is debatable. So I wouldn't go there. But what happened, there was a requirement that you clear your fees and you will be issued with examination number. And only through examination number will you access the examination examination hall. Examination number does not only serve as a ticket to a sec. It also people are actually sitting anonymously. The mark, you only have your examination number, like a coding, whereby it will be marked anonymously. Something that we introduced about 3 years ago, just before I left. But also in all over, even in East Africa, this is also where you actually meet the defaulters. You tell them, you clear any fees that are unpaid, and then you will actually have. So that is how we were able to control people access to that. Now, previously, when I was before in my first and second term specifically, at the end of the year, you will have something like between 15 to 20% will not have paid their fees. And what we will do, we will we will first of all ask them to clear. If they're done, we will block them, block the result at the end of the day. But when I came back, the numbers have increased. You are actually, in some schools, those who have either made partial appointment, partial payment, or non-payment, range between 90% in some schools, 70%. So there is a mass wide, and the university is running without money. And the excuse was that there is economic crisis, which is debatable, given that the fees that are there are not too high, and not everybody works with the civil. Their fathers is civil servants. Some are children, businesses, farmers, whatever, all kind of sectors of society. So we didn't find that an excuse, because if we accept that people have if we accept the argument that people don't have salaries, we will simply close. We simply close because we are not, who is going to pay for the paper? Who is paying for electricity and for water? If we accept this argument, we will say, okay, let's close until the economic situation, happen. But people are spending, they are marrying, they are every day, they are traveling on transport, they are eating, and they are dressing, despite the economic condition. So the same thing, education cannot take a back seat of individual. So to go to the point, now, because of that requirement, there were two campuses. The Western campus, which is the custom, and the main. I think what happened at the Western campus was a slow processing. And sometimes, it's a process of skills and experience of having that. So people who were there actually were very slow. So the number, there was a build-up, like I said in my statement, a build-up. But the students were waiting. Now, eventually, when they were not being processed, if you have a very narrow gate, there's a small gate where you pass, or you can open a gate, then, some even push in through. But they were not violent. They said, yeah, let us get into our hall, and they were allowed to get in eventually. So it was a build-up. And they went in and they settled in their classes. And then on the main campus, I was actually there. What I did, build-up wanted to form, I said, no, let us be fast. You organize them. Please, you raise your card or any your bill. Let them go in. Okay, somebody will come. I don't have a card. Who are you? I am GPOC or SPOC. Get in tomorrow. Go there and have a sign. Okay, which college? And that. So we were able to speed things up. So there was no build-up. And mind you, we have developed a culture of disinformation. There are people who have really interest to simply create negative. Of course, to tell you that you are not, you have access, you have to pay, and at that moment they were not asked. In fact, we provided early. We said, if you don't have, you go to the tent, okay, get an undersign, and then you will be given your card. Later on you will pay. That was what was agreed. And in fact, I made a message in the evening that you go, if you have a challenges, you go there, you'll be helped and advised. And we agreed with the dean, the registers were there, and in some cases when the registers were late, we said, okay, come in, later on you sort it out. So that picture taken and called a stand-up was a misinformation.
All right. Two questions before I invite in Honorable. Yesterday I passed via the main campus, and I've seen some military personnel deployed within the premises there. And with what you have explained, these are students. Why are you inviting military personnel to come and guide the universities, yet they are security personnel even within the university?
Yes, this is something happened before. When we wanted to control access in a state that you have to show us something, there was a violence in 2020, if you remember. The students of engineering wanted to simply, they were told the same thing. If you don't clear, you don't have access. So they forced their way into the lecture hall, and they actually create a lot of mayhem. But what happened, eventually we allow everyone to go whether you have paid or not. But in 2022 or thereabout, we decided to run the same exercise, and we conditioned that needed, to access the hall was through examination number, and we had to bring in the force to secure and to stop anything, somebody becoming going violent. So that is, they are there to secure and make sure that things are safe.
According to you, the issue of economic crisis is debatable, but the country is at the moment going through financial hardship. Now, are you telling us the University of Juba is receiving adequate resources if the issue of that money is debatable?
What I say is debatable is if you say that, civil servants are not receiving salary and soldiers, and we are children of that. Now, if you go and look at that background, that will not apply. They are not all children of soldiers, and they are not all children of civil servants. This is one thing. The other thing is that the way people are living now, they no longer depend on salary. Not only is salary, you know very well, salary of civil servants now is not even enough to carry you on through the month, let alone the week, let alone even if you get it, you will spend it quickly. So people are living on their assets. Everybody is living on the assets. You see, everybody is well dressed, despite the fact that there's no salary. You see, everybody is spending and living. So the idea that public servants are not getting is not an excuse for not paying the fee. This is as far as I'm concerned. Because I have told you, people are going to hospital. They are not saying, I'm staying home because, there are no salary if you are sick. People are buying medicine, they are buying food, they are buying clothes, and they are spending. And this is economic reality. They are using their assets and they are hustling in order to raise funds.
Professor, yesterday you talked to my colleague. You said the money that the university is demanding from the students, this is mainly for operations. Now you're saying people are not depending on that mainly on money, but rather assets. Now, why are you, allowing students to stand outside before clearing? And at the same time, in one of your speech, you said education is not for poor people. How did you study, for example?
First of all, where did I say education is not for poor people? I didn't say. If I ask you now, where did I say it? Do you have a recording? Do you have something written? You will not give it to me.
You said it at the main campus.
No, don't lie on air. I'm sorry. Do not lie on air. Now, if you are following very well, did I say it on campus? I was talking to students. I don't think this is not my personality, and I would not. It doesn't make sense to say. And when you talk about poor is something relative. Poor is something relative. I can say that somebody who is well off will send their kids to Malaysia, okay? Because and another person would say, I cannot afford Malaysia, I will afford Egypt. Somebody else will say, no, I cannot afford Egypt, I will afford the University of Juba.
Yeah, right.
So what I want to say, I will not say that because we all are relatively poor. The poverty, if you measure us, we are poor. But even then, our spending is to our level, So first of all, there was nowhere. I, in fact, threatened to take, to libel for Juba Monitor. I said, give me the recording. Now, every time I am asked by, if I write something on my Facebook, okay, iRadio and Mariam will contact me. I said, why don't you report that? Then you say, no, we need a voice as a broadcaster. That is evident. You could play that. But, and you could say, now you are just guessing, but you should ask it for me, because I will not deny something I've said. I've said a lot of things,
Yeah, right.
and there's no need for me to do that. So this is something, by the way, if I want to do, one of these website, one of the Facebook called Amatoni or something, fancy name, wrote and say, Professor K, a quotation. That was the only source. But they have unable to pick it up.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your clarification. Now I would like to invite Honorable Zakaria. First, what do you have to say in reaction to the event that unfolded at the University of Juba? I called you, you said yes, you had one or two information, and from Professor, you had it directly. What's your reaction? Welcome.
Thank you, iRadio, for inviting us to this show. In Parliament, the Committee on Higher Education was very busy with the budget. And we learned about this row in Juba University a day later, at the end of the day. And then the following morning, I passed by Juba and I found police all around, surrounding the campus. And you see, this issue is not new thing. It happened in 2022. It was just like that. And then we came to Professor K and pleaded with him to allow the student to sit on condition that the results should not be shown to them. If you are graduating, you will not receive your papers until you clear your things. And Professor Akej, Vice Chancellor, well, he said, this is my administration, and let him actually deal with the student. And later on, he considered, and all the students sat the exams. And of course, we did not come directly to Akej. We would have loved to invite the Minister of Higher Education to brief us, to brief the committee on what is happening to Juba. And because we are very busy, and even up to today, we're very busy, and I left my colleague in the office, and I told them that let me go and hear message from iRadio. So this is the situation. But we have not contacted even Professor Cage and even the Minister of Higher Education. We have not contacted anybody. But later on, when things cool down, exams are seen, we'll go in and we'll go to Cage and ask him to brief us, brief the committee, and see, because the committee exists for these institutions so that they run smoothly. The Ministry of Higher Education runs smoothly, and also the schools, our public university, run smoothly. And that is really, we would like to see that one in the committee, that is happening. If there are some distraction, we will come in and find out what is the problem, and suggest a solution.
Okay. According to what you have said, one of the solutions is to allow students sit, but on condition they have to first pay without, before seeing their results. Now, why would a specialized committee on higher education and technology come up with such a decision? Yet, let me give you, for example, the students currently who have not paid their tuition fees. Some of them are using iPhones, and when we talked of classes of iPhones, starts from less should be 400 USD and above. Two, instead of talking of maybe increased budget at the national parliament, why again are you giving Professor hard time to allow his students sit without paying?
Well, the budget of parliament committee, the budget of education has never been increased. All along,
it's your role to advocate for that.
We have been doing it. We have been doing it.
And what happened?
And the Minister of Finance is not allowing this. Has already set the ceiling, and that is it. So either you take it or you leave it. So this is the policy from Minister of Finance. You either take the ceiling or not. So that's why because there is no money from Minister of Finance, that's why we allowed our public university at least to get something from students in order to run the universities. If we don't do so, then you keep them closed. Because in the absence of government support, finance is not giving enough money to run the universities. And then somebody must fill the gap. And the parents plus the student will fill this gap to allow Professor Akej to run the university. This is the paradox here. This is where the problem is. Yeah, we are in between closing, remain closed, or open. When you close, then you have some problems. And then when you open, you need something to run it, and then there is a problem. So these are some of the issues. Actually, we have been struggling with in the Committee on Higher Education. Ours is to advise our ministries. We don't impose solutions because we are not executive. We advise our line ministries, institutions, to do this. And if they apply and it works, well and good. And if they say, then we can find out some solution in between.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Now over to you, Professor. Your students are saying the economic situation is not really allowing them to pay. And in the other hand, your aim is again to provide quality education. How are you going to balance the two? Welcome.
No, balancing is actually having low fees. So the fees are much low. If I tell you today that senior classes in the School of Medicine, their fee is equivalent of $300. That is $150 per semester, plus 100 development fees for annual, which means like they are paying equivalent of $200 per semester, $400. And these are private, and they are the ones who actually pay more. Those are senior classes. The first years, because the privately sponsored are paying equivalent of $1,100 per year, which is like about $550 per semester to study medicine, and those are the highest. The rest you are really talking about low, about $800, which is $400 per semester, and so forth. So what I want to say here, our fee are the lowest in the whole region in terms of. So somebody can raise this money if you really are serious, as you have heard, that people actually still buy things they need, like phone. They buy them. Everyone almost strive to have a smartphone. And somebody was saying that somebody is wearing a Turkish suit, and then Turkish designer suit, and he's complaining to say that he has no money, and so on. So this is one thing. But also remember this: right now, primary. Let us just leave the university. Go to primary and secondary education. Most of the primary and secondary education, where there are actually there's good work, they are private. Okay, from a small local, in Kayada, to Darlington, Academy, to St. Vincent, and to international schools, and it's different range of things. And people are paying. They are paying. Now, I give you an example. A small school in village in Nazareth. Okay, you get it for the senior 3, and it's a local school. Basically, it's not really like everyone knows. They are actually charging per term something like 300 to 400,000. Okay, so if you time that, that would be like 1,200,000. That's at the very least is more than $200 for a local primary school, and it's 3 terms. So you are paying 400 plus registration fee plus a smaller thing 110. So about 110 for everybody. If you don't pay it, they tell you to stay at home. Is a common thing. You ask somebody in Gudele today, they will tell you, my kids have a 1 week at home because they have not paid their installment, and they pay 3 times. And people are paying. Okay, they try their best to pay. And it should be the same for university, because universities now, although they are public, they don't get any, when you talk about budget, there is no item there in the budget for operation. What we get are the salaries. So because you have the salaries, wages and salaries, you have development like infrastructure, and for operation. Now we don't have in development, we don't have to Sudan. Sudan are paying fees, but those fees are modest. And the reason is that since the government is paying the salaries, then they are supplementing. And so the salaries are reasonable. Now, if people are paying, to go into schools, they are. Then you can imagine the same thing apply to university. You get such a bill now. University, I'm talking about 300, 400, and average general admission is about $200, and $50 for the whole year.
All right. Now, briefly, Professor, I've talked to Honorable. He did not receive his incentive for more than 10 months. And coming to the real issue on ground now, for the purpose of encouragement and motivation, like you said, there are some other students who are complaining of tuition fees, yet they are putting on expensive shoots, and they're also having iPhone. How did you manage to balance your own studies with other personal needs as well? Because we would like to know. Someone will say, Professor, maybe you are talking like this. You came up from a wealthy family. We would like also to know your own story in less than 2 minutes.
Okay. When I was the Vice Chancellor of University of Cuba, my salary was not coming. Before it became available. Things started to go. So the salary was delayed sometimes 6 months. If you had, we went for 6 months. So how do we get? I was a board chair of National Communication Authority. This is my story. So I get some sitting allowance from National Communication Authority, mostly in dollars, and I use that to support myself at the University of Juba. Sometimes I will travel, say traveling for 5 days. The university can give me a DSA, and the DSA of the Vice Chancellor at the University of Juba was like $350 a day, and that is $200 for hotel, and about $150 for maintenance. And then I have for transport I get $200, just one off. We call it transition. So if I'm going for say 4 days, that would be 1,000, and 400. Now if I go, I may come back. If I being economical, maybe I don't consume 150. I may come back with 700, 600, 800. So, and then I travel here. So this like that. We are really living by chance. There's a lot of chance there. And now, if you look at the teachers, again, some of them work. Professors, they can work as a facilitator. Conference. You call somebody. I'm facilitating a conference, and they can work as consultants, say for NGOs, to go to the field, collect data. But also they supervise students, and they're like masters and undergraduate. They also have marking allowance. So that is how people were living.
All right. Now, finally, I would like to give you this chance before I invite also my patient audience to ask their good question. At the moment, those who have money in the bank cannot really access in order to pay what the institution is really demanding. And I've got a question from that Mutelero via our Facebook page. Is Mutelero Emmanuel Gordon, that Professor John Akech, are you really aware that there is a financial crisis in this country? Because these are some of the situations students are going through, making them not to pay the money needed on time.
Yes, I'm aware, and I'm saying that we are not the first country to have economic issues. But the necessities are still being met, being food, being medicine, being clothing, being accommodation. People are paying rents, like it or not. And the landlords are actually charging people or chasing people out of the houses. We are buying clothes. We are still, and you say, how does it happen? People use their assets, people hustle, and that's the way people are living. You would not see a life here in Juba if people were just depending on, we would all be dead if we depended completely on the salaries. And not everybody also is working with it. Some people are working in the private sector.
All right.
Some people are selling stuff. So you cannot say everybody now is a government employee. No, it's not. And even government employees, even soldiers are hustling to survive. But when you hustle, you have to meet your need, including the needs of education.
Honorable Zakaria, are there existing laws or policies that need to be reviewed to strengthen that's a public learning institutions to avert all these situation people are going through? Welcome.
Thank you. We have Higher Education Act 2012, which empower the higher education to be run in the country. And of course, those issues, like what Professor is saying, well, our public universities actually were not meant actually to be run like private universities. They are government institutions, and government should take full charge of funding the university to run. Because of lack of that, it brought as this aspect of charging students in order to run the university. This is where the problem actually comes. It's a lack of funding from the Ministry of Finance to run university. There is nothing actually. These are in the law. There is no direct. Universities are treated as autonomous, not independent, but they are autonomous. They can do their operation, and to the degree that they can introduce something like a little tuition fee to charge a student to run a university. Now, what bring an alarm now is when students are unable to pay. Last year or 2 years ago was better than this year because of this economic inflation. Inflation in the country that made people not able to pay. I think I would disagree with Professor. More than half of population in our country do sleep without food. So the assumption that maybe even if you are carrying a phone, you are carrying a big phone, it doesn't mean that you have money. You cannot judge me on what I'm wearing.
Sure. Now, briefly, let me give the chance to Professor. Professor, that you cannot judge someone on what he or she is wearing or carrying. And at the same time, Honorable said universities are responsibility of the government. Now, instead of talking to the Ministry of Finance or talking directly to government to come in and support the university, why are you putting the burden on students to pay the tuition fee? Because university at the moment, like you say, depending on this for operation.
Yes, this is not a secret. The ministries of finance in some of these countries have not really been supporting public universities. And this is a debate we know. And in the past, University of Juba used to have a few hundred students. And that a few hundred students, they would sleep on, they say on dormitory, and they get 3 meals, okay, and they get ticket. But you were talking about a few hundred. But in the in the new millennium, after in the 21st century, the education has massified. The number of people now go to university is incredibly high. You talk about 40,000 students at the University of Juba. Now the government may not be able to feed them. And by the way, another way of doing this would be say the government pay, because for us at the University of Juba, we spend now our hour day is about $500,000, like $500,000 a month, to operate. This is how much. So if they can give us that money, okay, that's worth around 12 million, 6 million, say, exactly the operation, then the student can study for free.
All right.
6, but they are not doing it. So what do you do?
Another solution in terms of question coming in from Salfa Aleu is asking you, Professor, that why is the university rejecting bank transfer from a student account to university account, given that bank does not do withdrawal nowadays?
Yes, because transfer doesn't mean anything. We need the money to print out the paper right now. We need the money to pay for this. if you give us the transfer, it will not, the bank don't actually give out cash that has been transferred.
All right. Dear listen up to here. It's your chance now to grab that cell phone and dial our studio line after this break.
For news and the music, keep it iRadio.
It's a Baghdad Diamond Wenisuma iRadio ala numrata telefon 0911-986-986 au itabi reselu risala ala numra 0913-986-986.
نعم فرصة لك لو عندك سؤال خاص لبروفيسور جون أكيتش ولا هونربل زكريا فرصة لك ناخذ أول مخالمة اي راديو.
Hello.
نعم إيمانويل بانادول.
Yes sir.
مرحبا توالي وسط زمان سؤال لبروفيسور ولا هونربل زكريا.
أنا عندي سؤال تاعي أنا براسل. أرضي بيتا جما جوبا أو كبير. وسوق العربو يوم داكده أنا بعرف قالي أرضي بيتا جما جوبا وعملوا سوق. هل ye professor akeji indak agreement manasa lamolo ardi fita jama juba inda kon agreement fogo le kunsu e jakaneta on namolo agreement munu ya bisilu collection ta grus fita ardi fita jama juba de
شكرا.
swala ana der professor akeji cheli ele jwabo fogo.
شكرا جزيلا.
Jwab dimori it mean kelero le honorable. Honorable jeta bikalamo wonu sataki ita bonu su galle manato Minister of Finance mabak the release gurus le universities wala le Minister of Education Hassan Dafa Osasin hal ita unje committee malta una somon Minister of Finance Hassan Jajwa fi kalamde in front of Parliament.
شكرا جزيلا. إيمانويل بانادول في جوبايني. نبدأ أول ب Honorable يالا بروفيسور برو بيجا. مرحبا.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, we have summoned the Minister of Finance several times, including the Minister of Higher Education, and they told us that there is no money. This is what they told us: no money in the ministry. If they have money, they will pay.
Every year there's a financial
problems.
Budget. Yala grushe gura when accountability. Where's that money going?
Up to now, up to last month, 20% of the total budget had been received by the Ministry of Higher Education. Where is the money? It was not paid. You ask the Ministry of Finance, they said there was no money to pay. You ask the Ministry of Higher Education, they said they didn't receive money.
But now, opening a new financial year, what kind of question are you people asking?
The question we are asking in the next budget to be tabled next week is collection is very high, including oil revenue and non-oil revenue. But when it comes to the expenditure, it is not there. There are no reports. No report from the Minister of Finance how much had been received for the last 3 months. So this is a really serious issue, and might be a very big issue in the next budget debate.
Now, if that is the case, why is the Parliament not moving a motion for impeaching some of these ministers?
Yeah, Parliament have been considering that, and it has never worked.
Why?
Because there have been every 1 month or 2 months, the new minister will come in. So we'll just tell you that I don't know.
How about ministers who stayed for more than 6 months?
They were questioned, and they told Parliament that the money in finance is not there.
All right. Professor, over to the land issue. What's your take?
Yes, that land which belongs to University of Juba, we are facing challenge of developing it. You know, where part of this land in custom was mainly for hospital. Yeah, even there was sign of hospital, University of Juba Teaching Hospital, but we did not get the money to develop it. So it's been empty, and the Juba City Council asked us so that it can be used, as a market. So the structures that are put there are temporary structures. I think Muniki Payam and the Muniki Chambers of Commerce, they collect the fee, and the fee are also very little, very small for these vendors. And I think there is a percentage that is given to University of Juba after they raise the money. Maybe 40% or 30% goes to University of Juba, about 70% to 60% goes to Juba City Council and also those people who are involved. And it's a temporal. In fact, they said that people are filling the streets, so they wanted to accommodate them and so forth. So I am saying that in this case, I think it's a planning issue. Lands around Juba, a lot of places, even cars, you don't find where you park them.
Now, who is supposed to plan, and yet the land belongs to the university?
No, that's not the only land that was there. There are other lands that have been given to businesses to build. So it's the only few places that are left now is this University of Juba. We've been protecting from grabbing, and we are unable. So we are leasing it temporarily, to these traders, and it is the Juba Council that we are cooperating with. But the other land, I'm told you, Juba is very big. You go to Haitijaria, okay? Even the football pitch has been turned into, given out for cars. So I'm telling you that there's a planning issue there, because the Juba City Council has lands that you could have preserved for this kind of activity, including the market.
All right. Chance to you, iRadio.
Madrama Jamus.
Ustaz Tolfuk.
Absolutely. Kevita.
Mabatar la wasat zaman sual honorable wala professor.
In this all.
Le munu.
In Sudan, citizen bita in Sudan.
No, suala wala gura le munu le honorable wala le professor.
كلهم الناس القاعدين في الاستوديو ده اول حاجه امبارح انا شايف حاجه كده لانه
wasat zaman male swal bitake twale
ده يا سوال يا مدرما ده يا سوال
نعم
امبارح انا شايف الحاجه هو الناس بتاع مانجمنت بتاع يونيفرسيتي اوف جيبا قفل الباب عشان يكون ما في دخول للطلاب بتاع الجامعه وانتم ناس فوقهم ناس الحكومه والحكومه بين طرفين بتاع ولايه سنترال اكواتوريا والقومي. انتم قاعدين في هنا في برلمان وفي جزء قاعدين شغال مع مانجمنت بتاع يونيفرسيتي. انت شايف الوضع بتاع جنوب السودان الزول دفع نص والزول ما دفع. مالكم انتم ما تعمل حاجه عشان يكون الحاجه ده يكون امشي تماما للستودنت بتاع جامعه جوبا. لانه هنا شايف انتم قاعدين في هناك بالحاجه او بقول سالب انترست. انتم ما قاعدين عشان تعمل الحاجه للشعب بتاع جنوب السودان. هل انتم جايين في الاستوديو الليله الشغل بتاعكم انت جيت في الاستوديو شنو عشان هنا ناكدم؟ انا من القبيله كده انا ما بفهم حاجه منكم، داير نفهم حاجه منكم المنتشب بتاعكم. انتم الحاجه انتم جيتم ده عشان توريهم للشعب بتاع جنوب السودان شنو ده واي. نمرة 2 داير ناكد انتم شغالين يا تطليق عشان يكون أنا الجنوبيين ناكد منكم انتم شغالين. هلا لازم ده فرصه بتاعكم، لكن بعدين لو الله قفل الباب انتم قاعدين في البر تعمل شنو عشان اننا ناكد من الشغل بتاعكم؟ ده شغل نظيف، لكن المشكله بتاع وضع جنوب السودان انتم بقولوا حاجه اننا وسمون بتاعكم انت قاعدين تعمل سمون ده ما في نتيجه فوقه. النتيجه بتاعكم شنو؟
شكرا جزيلا أستاذ Tolfuk في Juba. Via our Facebook page, texts are coming in from Dr. Adud Rengweth that if the government needs a public university free of tuition fee, then why Barakazal, Dr. John Garang Memorial University and Upper Nile universities are almost dying off if free education is a miracle? That's a question to you, Honorable. Welcome.
Thank you. Of course, Parliament has a role in representing its people and also overseeing the executive, making laws. That is the role we are playing. And the executive, including universities, are part of the executive. They implement the programs of the government. So there is nothing, especially for Parliament, when there are some crises, so Parliament will get reports from its line ministries to explain and also to advise on amicable solutions to every party involved. So we have our role as Parliament, and these universities, the University of Dr. John Grant, University of Barkazal, University of Rumbek, they are facing problems. It is because the problem now why Juba is very big, because it has the highest number of students in the country.
All right. Another text message coming in from Deng Miles that, let us be honest, our lecturers are struggling to survive. We cannot keep calling education free when the government is not providing adequate funding to the universities. This is a concern clearly raised by Professor himself. We truly value education, then we must prioritize proper support for our institution and the people who sustain them. What's your reaction about the concern raised by Deng Miles, Professor?
Yes, the concern raised, I think, is an old one and something that's happening across Africa as a whole. And sometimes it could be blamed as the reason why these countries aren't developed, because even the governments that are supporting their universities, they said they are not supporting enough. The salaries are low when they are there. There is no investment in research, in laboratories, and even in research that inform policy and improve agriculture and improve health. Those are things you get these conversations from Cairo to Cape Town, and from you start from Abidan to Addis Ababa. So when we say that's what we say. We say there's not enough, but these things are relative. So in South Sudan here, there is a challenge because of the new country. There have been challenges with economic crisis. There have been deficit, recurring deficit. There has been high inflation. So that's to do with our economic management and also our the war that we have that is costly. The former Tulfuk was asking that, what are we doing for the people? I think University of Juba, somebody had just mentioned, if you go there every day, you find people are being taught. You find people are learning classes, and at the end of the year will be assessed. We have to do the examination. Now, examination, you need to print answer sheet. You also have to provide electricity. You have to provide water. You have to give allowances for teachers. It costs money. So, but as far as universities are concerned, every year we have been graduating people. That is our output.
Right.
And somebody with a degree, so we have an output to show. This is what we are doing. But you have heard about the challenges we are facing with no development for us to build lecture halls and no operation. So we have to depend on the students. So the students need to help themselves.
All right. Thank you. Let me, before I invite Honorable, there's a question coming in from Alith Deng, that what is a final decision given to the student who have managed to raise half of their tuition fee and those who fail completely to raise? Professor.
Yeah, what we reached was that we pressurized them. We gave them a deadline. We brought in the security and we said, please explain to us, why are you not paying? And then somebody will explain themselves. And they can be in this category. Some of them are sponsored by organizations, by oil companies. Again, the oil companies have not paid. Can you say that oil companies have issues of, and they are the ones selling oil themselves? I think the problem is in commitment. Whether these are all
What's the
companies-
length of the deadline?
No, the deadline is when somebody is going to have exams, isn't it? The whole year academic is finished. What other deadline? Do you pay after somebody has been taught, or do you pay so that we are able to use the resources?
All right.
So everybody, including students, were delaying. But in at the end, what was decided, whether you are sponsored by all companies and the whole company has not paid, we said, okay, we'll take a note, and then we allow you that, we will actually give chance to these oil companies, and maybe they can talk to them through the community so that pay them. Individual level, they make a pledge for that.
All
and
right.
everybody was allowed to go in, whether you have half or whether you pay nothing, because we will have, in the future, we'll ask you to pay that money, or you will not get your result.
Thank you so much, Professor. Second last one to Honorable Zakaria. Let's talk about check and balance, which is one of your role. Where is the vision of late Dr. John Garang of free education?
Well, according to our constitutions, the basic education is free, according to our constitution. And when it comes to higher education, it's free, but a level of involvement of parents and students. So it is a shared responsibility when it comes to university. So even in the old Sudan, somebody was paying for the students. Somebody was paying for it, paying for your food, paying for your tuition, paying for your boarding house, and so on. So somebody was paying. That's why, and you were not asked actually to pay. So it is a shared responsibility. University education is a shared responsibility. At least parents must commit themselves actually to share.
All right. We're almost coming to the end of our conversation. It's time now for me to allow Honorable Zakaria to give his final remarks as we are coming to the end. What is a long-term solution to what you are seeing currently happen in public or learning institutions in the country?
We are saying in the committee that this situation should calm down, and university administration get into dialogue with the students and find a solution, a amicable solution, so that the students will do their exams. Of course, I have never had a student totally that never sat for their exams. I think if they sit together, as the professor put it, that we sit together and find out why he's not paying now. There are some solutions. You can even defer the exams until that student actually pay.
All right.
Or do exams, and then you don't get the result to him.
All right.
Or her.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Finally, Professor, what steps are being taken to prevent similar incidents from occurring at the University of Juba? And again, what's your message to those who think learning institutions should be entirely free of charge? Welcome.
Yeah, I think I have been away of university for the last 21, 22 months. So before I was there, we were able to develop a culture, through the pressure. All human beings, they need to be pressurized. And this idea, it dates back, even this little money that is paid is usually students don't want to pay. From here to Sudan to Addis Ababa is the same. And this, the pressure has been done. They ask you that if you don't pay, you will not go sit the exams. But here in South Sudan, we at the University of Juba, we actually were able to have a lot of fight, and eventually most of the students were complying. The compliance was between 10% to about 15%. But now there is really a lax, for me, it's not only economic crisis, but it is exacerbated by the tolerance that was exercised by former administration, and we are now trying to make them feel that this is obligation.
Sure.
So what we will be doing is that we will continue to pressurize them, and without that pressure, even those who paid, a lot of people now paid after this pressure, and without that, and we allow them in, that will. But then in long term, I would like to say that, like many other countries, there's what they call a student loan, a fund which a student can lend, and they pay their fees, which is, which many countries are doing. So in that case, it doesn't matter whether you are poor or rich, you can actually borrow, and after you have graduated and you have worked and you are earning, you can pay back. That's a long-term solution.
Thank you. Yes.
One solution.
A quick one in less than 30 seconds.
Is the student support fund bill. If it is passed, then it will solve this problem.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Zakaria, former chairperson of the Specialized Committee on Higher Education and Technology in the Revitalized Transitional National Legislative Assembly, and Professor John Akech, Vice Chancellor, University of Juba. Thank you all for coming. I've been your host, Madrama, and big thanks to Abacho Kushagawa, the producer of Sundown Show, and